Well, welcome. If you're watching this, it means that you've missed out on a fantastic session, our first cook along ever, hosted by Laura Drury. We're going to be making delightful dal today, and we're going to be having a bit of a chat with whoever's still on the call. So, Laura, I'm going to pass over to you. Talk us through what we're cooking.
Okay, sounds great. So I am really excited about walking you through this recipe. I got to travel to India, probably a dozen times in my career so far. I used to be in software development, and so I got to spend a lot of time there. I already loved Indian food, but traveling there and eating there for extended periods of time was such a delight. And so I fell in love. And after I got done traveling so much, I decided, well, maybe I need to figure out how to do some of this myself. So this recipe actually came from Seth Godin, surprising source for the recipe, but that's where it started. He posted it once upon a time. And so I thought it was worth trying. So I'm going to put on my handy dandy chef's apron. Reason I like this is because when my hands get dirty, I can just wipe them on my apron and I don't have to worry about it.
And
So
what does it say on your apron?
it says queen of everything.
Oh, fabulous. I love it.
It is my kitchen after all, so I get to be the queen here.
I've just got a little half one on. You can't really see it. I've got my wiping rag and my half apron on, so I'm dressed up and ready to go.
Good job, good job. So this recipe, as I said in the intro part to the ingredients, it is nutritious, lots of protein, lots of fiber. It tastes great. My whole body just goes, oh, yum, every time I eat it. So this is a regular staple in our household. So let's get started. The first step is all about, well, the first step is about soaking your beans. So I know that Raina doesn't have to do that, but I did that. So I soaked the beans, and I'm just going to, Steve, my handy assistant, do you know where the strainer is? Oh, down here. Okay, good. All right, I'm just going to strain the water off so that we have this ready to go.
Excuse me, can I ask my first dumb question? Okay, so you specified these Mansour lentils, lentils, which require this soaking. What are these lentils? What's different about them from the usual brown lentils that we use to make soup?
You can use anything you want. That's just what they called for. And it's fun to go to the Indian grocery store and see all the different kinds of beans they have. Stuff you'll never find in the regular grocery store. But you can actually make these with any lentils or any beans you want.
Thank you.
Just gonna finish rinsing this off.
In fact, today I've just got some really quick cook red lentils. So we're gonna try some different stuff.
That's right. And here's what mine look like. They soaked overnight, so that's what I'm going to use today. They are not the Mysore lentils, but they will be lovely. So, so that was the first step, is really getting the beans ready to cook. Second step is making gram masala. Not marsala, gram masala. And that takes a whole long list of spices that we've talked about, or that are on the list for you. So I'm going to start at the top. The first thing we have is mustard seeds. So the seeds you're going to see here are all the spices I did buy at the Indian grocery store. You don't have to, of course. Do be careful when you're measuring out seeds like this, because they bounce everywhere. So here is my mustard seeds. They're ready to go. So I'm going to put them, I'm going to use this bullet blender because it's just nice and small, and it crunches up the all of these great spices really great. And I'm going to show you the blade I'm using is this one. And it does have a little bit of a sharp edge on one of them. So if you have something like that, it's kind of helpful. So that that's the mustard seed. Second on our list is coriander. Coriander is here. coriander seeds. Coriander seeds, okay, and they're measured out somewhere right here.
I can
So-
tell you cook a lot because the bag of seeds that you've got is enormous, right? It's massive.
Yeah.
You buy in bulk, which is great.
Yep. So here's the coriander. I'm putting it in our little bowl, our little blender container here. The next one is cumin. Cumin seeds. Here's the cumin seeds, and I have them measured out here. So they're kind of long and narrow. And I'm gonna just put them again in here. So we're dumping them in. The other thing about measuring is that you do not need to be exact with the measuring. Indian food is very forgiving. So if you want a little more of something, or you don't, you just, you know, sort of a bunch more came out, it's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. Black peppercorn. So this is nothing surprising. If I can find them. Oh, here they are. Black peppercorns. I just measured those out. That's all the others have been a tablespoon. This is only a teaspoon, so the black peppercorns, I go in there. Then cardamom. Cardamom is right here. It looks like there's some extra mustard seeds in there, but cardamom is here, 3 pods of that. So they're kind of funny looking. They're these long sort of doodads. Long sort of doodads there. Anyway, they go in. Then Mexican cinnamon. Actually, this is the cinnamon I'm using. I got that at the Indian grocery store as well. It's in these long strips. It's kind of like bark almost, but here it is. I put it in the bowl or the measuring cup. And if you scratch it, oh man, it smells just like you'd expect cinnamon. So I'm putting that in there. And then it says a pinch of turmeric, or turmeric. Everybody spells it a little different, I found. So we'll put a little of that in there. And then the chili peppers. So chili peppers, again, I got these at the Indian grocery store. One of the most fun things about going there is that people, if you look like you don't know what you're doing, oftentimes people will help you, which is kind of fascinating. So I'm got 4 of these I'm going to put in. This is somewhat spicy depending on how much you like spice, but not hugely spicy. So 4 is a good amount. So you get to choose how much you want. And that is all that goes in here. Okay, so I'm going to put the blade on. Let's just screw that down. And then I'm going to blend this, or obliterate it, as the recipe says. But I'm going to have Steve go on mute because it's loud.
I'm just going to say I am loving the camera work here, Steve, as well. From behind the camera, we've got zooming in action. Yeah, it's going really well. So it's a nice group effort there in the Drury household today.
And I'm panicking, thinking I'm going to do this by myself all alone tomorrow.
Pressure's on, that's right.
You can call me. So here's what it looks like. Here's what it looks like.
I feel like just now I need
It
to have
smells beautiful. It smells really, really good. So there's that. So I'm going to just put this in another bowl here. To keep it there, because we're going to use this blender thing for something else. So the next step is to do the garlic and ginger. So we got huge garlic for some reason. Anyway, I got 3 cloves of garlic. They don't need to be that big, obviously, but they go in here. You don't have to get all the spice out, it's fine. So there's that. The ginger. So I want to talk to you about ginger. If you've been to the grocery store and you've seen those funny looking roots that are ginger, they're wonderful, especially if they're on sale. Buy a big bunch of it. And what you can do is just clean them off. You don't need to remove the skin, just clean them off, and then use a blender like this to blend it up And then you can do what I did is just to freeze it, just like that. I just froze it. I just let it, it's obviously thawed out right now. But I freeze it, I put it in there, and then anytime I want ginger in anything I'm cooking, I just grab one. It's so easy. So that's what I did for this. And so that's wonderful. I'm just gonna throw it in here.
That's a great tip. How long does it take to defrost once it's frozen?
Oh, probably an hour. I just put it on the counter and let it do its thing. But the did it on another recipe. I just stuck it on defrost in the microwave for about a minute. So that worked pretty. So that's that, and then the other thing that goes in here is a cup of water. I'm just gonna measure that out. And I'm gonna put it in here to get the rest of that ginger out of this container. And pour the rest of this in here. So I'm gonna ask Steve to go on mute again so I can blend this. Okay, so that's that.
The ginger smells so good in my house right now. It's just, it smells so
Yes.
fragrant. It's beautiful.
Isn't it the most fun thing to smell? Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is all put aside. So we have prepared the spices and more spices, and we're ready now to go to the next phase. Oh, you know what? I forgot.
Laura?
Yeah.
Did you say at the beginning, and I'm sorry, I know I have the recipe because I love lentils and I want to make this, so I'm watching. What kind of lentils did you use? Red or green? Is there another kind? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Anything you like, use that.
Okay.
And then try stuff you haven't tried before. Try another kind of bean that you haven't used. I forgot to put in these lime leaves. So these ones I actually bought a while back and I stuck them in the freezer, but you can get them fresh at the Indian grocery store. And that's the shape they're in. They usually come on a branch. So, you know, you're getting real leaves here. So I'm just tearing these up and putting them in this liquid here because that's fine for them. Okay, so I forgot that. But the next step we have is to start cooking in, and I'm going to use a Instapot pressure cooker, but you can cook this on the stove equally well. So I'm just going to turn it on to saute, and I'm using coconut oil, but you can use any other kind of oil you want. You can use ghee, which is the Indian oil, or you can use, we've used olive oil before. It just depends on what you want to use. I just happen to have some coconut oil in the closet, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put this in here and let it melt. So it doesn't take long. It does not take long at all. So, and then I'm going to, while that's melting, I'm going to open this can. So this is one of the fun parts because it's so easy. You just buy this giant 28-ounce can or whatever the equivalent is in your country of tomato puree or any kind of variety of that you want. And I'm going to open this so we're ready to stick it in when it's time.
Laura,
So-
you're doing excellent. You need to have your own Food Network show.
I agree. So I feel like
And why are we having wine during these cook-along sessions? Like, where is the wine? It's almost 1 o'clock here in Texas, you know?
All right.
what's
That's right.
in my pan so far? Just remind me.
Just the oil. So
Okay.
we're letting that melt. Mine's not quite melted yet. The next thing we're going to throw in there is the gram masala that we blended. So that's what we're going to get ready to throw in there in just a second.
And about how much did you make from that? Because I'm using pre-made. So
It looks like probably 3 tablespoons.
Okay.
That's what I would guess. Something like that. And yeah, you definitely can use store-bought, especially if you find one, all of them are different. All
yeah,
masalas are different, but if you find one you like, yeah, go ahead and use it, right?
I buy mine from a restaurant actually, and it's just really, really, I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
No- Nice, because everybody makes their own, and this just happens to be one of them. Okay, so my oil is hot now, so I'm gonna pour this in, and Steve's gonna take a peek in the pot for us so that you can see what's happening. So I just throw it in there, and then I'm just going to mix it in with the oil. And this should go for about a minute. So you're just kind of heating it up, letting it roast a tad, and getting it kind of mixed in with the oil so it's not lumpy.
It's a bit like making a roux, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Definitely is. Okay. So there's that, and it smells lovely.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, yeah. This
Making
is,
me
especially if you,
hungry.
I love going like go downstairs or upstairs or something and then come back in the room so I can really smell it.
Mm.
That's always fun. Okay, so now that that's been in there for just about a minute. All right, there it is. Okay, the next thing is to put this liquid in, which is the ginger and the garlic, and then those curry leaves. And so we're just gonna pour that in there. And we just want to mix it in. It takes about 30 seconds just to get sort of mixed in there. So, excuse me, not long, and it can get up your nose or in your throat, so be careful. It's a lot of intense spice. All right, so then we are going to put in our tomato. Here, let me just get this off the lid a little bit. Okay, there we go. So the next thing after that 30 seconds is up, I'm just gonna let it go for a second. Yep, it's bubbling a little. We're gonna add the can of tomatoes. So just make sure it doesn't splash on you. So I'm just gonna use my spoon there. And then you just get that in there, give it a little swirl. Get it all mixed in because we're going to use this same can to add 1 can of water. 1 can of water. Okay. Mix that around so I get all of it off the edge there. And pour it in.
What size can did you say?
It's this is a 29 ounce. So you're looking
Okay.
for a big one. A big one. I got some more tomato in there. Okay. So I got that in there. We're giving it a stir. And amazingly, we're almost done and ready for the real cooking to begin. So I've got the lentils here. And so again, that's these aren't lentils, but these are my what are they called? Let me tell you. So I am reusing green mung whole beans. So that's what I'm using, but you can use whatever you want. And I'm just gonna pour these in.
Linda, I know you're watching, so next time we have a training there and I'm the trainer, you can cook this for us.
Sure, no problem.
So I'm just stirring this in.
Sounds
Just stir it in. And for those of you who are using like an Instapot or something, we're gonna turn off the saute. We're gonna turn it to bean, and the 21 minutes is the correct amount of time that it defaulted to here. And then I'm going to close it up and get it started.
Laura, what's the difference between what you're using in lentils as far as like cooking time or texture?
Lentils are smaller. They're probably faster in general. They're faster. I like to experiment with different kinds of beans and see what I like, what tastes good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you usually, you can look them up or read the package on the cooking time required, and that you're going to base that on, how long you're going to set it for. Or you could do it on the stove for an hour-ish. And of course, tasting it is always the best way to tell if it's done or not. So we made a batch earlier this morning because I want to show you this last step, because this is going to take 21 minutes, which means it's got to heat up first, then 21 minutes, and then you can open it after that, but we might not still want to be here. Sorry, I forgot something. So I have this one I made this morning because this freezes great. So if you want to put it in the freezer and eat it every once in a while, you have it ready to go. Here's like the magic ingredient, and it's called tamarind. So this is definitely something you get at the Indian grocery store. I don't think you can get it anywhere else. It comes in a lot of different forms. One form is kind of like a brick. And you can definitely use that, but it has a lot of little fibers in it that you want to get out of there. So this is easier because this doesn't have any of that. So I just went for the easy. And tamarind tastes kind of citrusy. And what we do at the end here, after it's all cooked, is you add tamarind to it, and you do that to taste. So usually it's probably like a couple of tablespoons, but I taste it every time to see how much is the right amount that time, based on the spices or beans or whatever. And I usually use my handy dandy husband Steve to be our taste tester. So I'm gonna put this in here so you guys can see that piece as well.
So I wait until the water's absorbed and it's ready to eat, and then I use that as like a seasoning, the final seasoning.
Yes.
Okay.
So Steve's gonna show you what it looks like when it's done.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. So I used the same beans this morning. And so this is what it looks like. It's not completely absorbed water, but pretty close. So it's a pretty hearty stew. And now I'm gonna add the tamarind in here. So I'm gonna put a couple of tablespoons, and then we can taste and see if it's about right or if we need some more. So it's pretty simple. It's really not hard. I mean, the hardest part is just sort of, getting the unusual ingredients and that kind of thing. All right, where's our tasting spoon? Let me see here. Okay, let's see if this has enough tamarind in it. Pretty good. Oh yeah, now I made this one this morning really hot. It's hot. It's good though. Very tasty. So the beans are pretty soft. So they break up really easily. We can serve this with
Basmati.
rice. Basmati.
You might not have heard that, but we did from the
Oh, yeah.
from the gods. Basmati.
Yeah, to make sure I said basmati. Or I buy frozen Indian bread. Oh, there it is. So I buy frozen naan, and it's wonderful. I don't try to make it because I think it's too hard, but it's lovely. So that's another thing you can serve it with. Okay.
Fabulous. Now, I have a question. So if
Yeah.
when I have cooked mine for however long and I taste it and it's not hot enough, what should I be adding to it? Because I can't add dried chilies at that point.
Yeah, a couple of ideas. Cayenne, you could add, you know, I don't know, maybe everybody had red pepper flakes, you know.
Yeah,
when
like the proper chili
you-
flakes. Yeah,
know?
that's what I got out ready to add later, just in case, because I like mine quite hot as well.
Yeah. And then make a note to yourself if it turned out too hot or not hot enough, so that next time when you make it, you can adjust.
Right.
You know,
Nice.
I usually print it out. I make little notes in the margin, and it's like add a little more of this or whatever next time you cook it.
Yeah, fabulous.
And know that even you know, like the next day or even the next 3 or 4 days, it'll get a little hotter.
Excellent. That's good
Laura-
for me.
Laura, I have a question. Do
Yeah.
you add, have you added before veggies to inside there? And if so, which ones, or have you tried it with veggies as a pairing too?
I haven't put veggies in this one. I have another Indian dish that I do that I do put veggies in. You know, anything you want. This is fairly hearty, so you know, pairing it with like broccoli is always good, or yeah, that's probably carrots. Broccoli's my favorite for this, but you know, anything you like is good, right?
Yeah.
But there's several other dishes that I do put the vegetables right in there, and that's always fun. There's one that I make that has oatmeal in it, and it's called kirichi, and it has all kinds of vegetables, and it sounds really strange, but it's very good.
This
So-
is not about the recipe, but what interests you? What got you interested in a passion for cooking Indian food?
You know, it's funny, when you travel in India, and I was mostly in southern India, there's a lot of food that is different than you get here when you go to the Indian restaurant, right? And so I got curious about, well, could I do it myself? And if I did, what would it be like? And that sort of thing. So I just kept my eyes and ears open. And anytime I'd see something, I'd just grab onto that information and put it in my little collection. And then I'd start experimenting and finding out what I liked and what didn't like. But you know, it's just very different from what you're going to get at a traditional restaurant. So I find that fascinating, and I love the flavors and the smell in the house and all that kind of thing. So it's just fun.
It does
Nice.
smell fantastic right now. It smells so good. I've tasted it because I couldn't wait, but my lentils are still hard.
Oh darn!
I just had a crunchy bite, but it was really good.
We have
the
a large
spice-
Indian community here, so finding a store is not going to be an issue. I have one like less than 2 miles away, so I'm definitely going to be looking for some of these ingredients that I don't keep in the house, like the leaves. You know,
Yeah. It's a fascinating experience to go to the grocery store. It's like when you're interested in another culture, then people are interested in you. And so every time I go to the Indian grocery store, somebody strikes up a conversation. And I don't usually talk to people in stores, so it's not a norm for me. But you know, they're like, "Have you ever tried this? And do you have a question about that, or any thing?" So, and they have fascinating things that you've never seen anywhere else, and some of which I still don't know what they're for. But you know, it's really fun to just to be somewhere completely different. So.
I agree. Whenever my husband and I travel, we have a rule, and that is that, you know, we don't visit any chain restaurants. We want to try everything local. So just, it's the best way. I mean, you immerse in the culture that you're in. And so.
Yeah, no kidding. And it enriches the experience so much. I mean, that's part of the joy of going somewhere you've never been, or visiting another culture, that you get to really soak in what is life like here, right? What different things do they do and taste, and how are their lives, right? It's fun. Super fun.
One of the questions, and it was one of the questions when we booked the cook along, is it's breakfast. What should I eat? So what did you have when you were in India for breakfast?
That's a great question. Breakfast is kind of not different from other meals in general. So, in the US particularly, we tend to eat breakfast foods, cereals and eggs and pancakes and all this kind of stuff, right? But in India, it's no different than any other time, any other meal, really. I tended to like during mango season, which is amazing in India. There's nowhere else in the world I've ever been that has mangoes like India does. And you can't get them unless you're in India. So I would often have mango, but also I would have masala dosa. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of those, but it's like this giant pancake, but it's not sweet. And they roll it up and they have usually a potato kind of filling inside that's spicy. And so that I definitely remember having that at breakfast. Nothing other particular things that I recall, but it's not really different than any other meal. So you have whatever you want.
Which is how I wish we would live more often, because I can eat savory any time of day. So when I go for breakfast, I have steak and eggs or something that's not traditionally breakfasty, or prawns or something, and people find that really weird. But actually, why can you not just eat what you want when you want it? So,
Right.
it's so strange. Yeah.
So many places in the world are like that. You go at breakfast, have all kinds of things, that they just normally eat, and you pick what you want to eat that morning, right?
Absolutely. Valerie's just chatted fried rice, 100% fried rice, second day fried rice as well. And I've been told you're not supposed to reheat rice, but I've reheated rice my entire life and still living. Yeah, just second
Right.
day. Yeah. Oh,
Exactly.
fabulous. So what other cuisines are you into? Where else have you been?
Let's see, where else have I been? I've been a lot of places. I haven't. It's easier to talk about where I haven't been. I haven't been to Japan or China or New Zealand or Australia, but I have been to Africa and all over Europe and Brazil and
Dubai.
Dubai, South America. All over the US, of course, Canada, stuff like that.
And Georgia, not the country.
The state.
Hey,
I don't think you can class that as like the same sort of thing as going to India and going
Oh,
to
okay.
Canada, not the state. My
Well,
lentils are thickening up. I'm gonna go for another crunchy test.
okay.
But maybe Raina, because not many people out here eat grits. So if you're in Georgia, you're going to try that for breakfast, maybe. So yeah.
Right.
Mine's
Mine's done.
Mine's really close. It said 6 minutes actually when I read the packet, but it lied. It's been longer than 6 minutes. They're still a bit. They taste great.
I would love to hear some of the, we're asking Laura about what she likes. I'd love to hear some of the global types of foods that those who are on the Zoom meeting are trying and liking.
I love Turkish food. So a former colleague of mine was from Turkey, and funny enough, we went to a trade show in Germany, and most of the days we were there, he and I ventured out to eat Turkish food, and my husband joined us too. So we went and just had a bunch of Turkish food while we were in Germany. So I think it's just fabulous that we live in a world now where we can experience different foods regardless of of where we live. And so love
Mhm.
Turkish food. One time I was in Spain and my brother-in-law who loves making paella is like, you have to bring me the saffron, because it's different than what you can get here in the US. Like you have to get it, you have to get it. So I was in search for this saffron, never used it before. I'm like, what the hell does it even look like? Like, what is this thing? And so I had to look it up and then found it in a market and he made paella for us. So I love all kinds of food. I don't think there's anything that, I'm always willing to try something new. And then I
Great.
was in Dubai too, and that was a nice cultural experience, sitting on the floor in in the restaurants and eating the food there. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed Turkey as well. That was one of my most surprising experiences. How many women were in business in Turkey? I really was like, that just blew me away. I didn't expect it,
I know. I was in
more than-
Istanbul. I was in Istanbul for work, and it was Valentine's Day, and I just ventured out by myself. I had no idea what people around me were talking about. The food was amazing, but I'm texting my husband. I'm like, I don't know what's going on next door, but they started out well, this couple. Now I know I can tell body language. They're fighting. I don't know what. So anyway, it was just, I love food and I love culture. And thank you for opening your home and your kitchen to do this, Laura.
Oh, you bet. So fun. I was like, oh, I want to cook.
For sure. This is really delicious as well. I'm going to add some tamarind and see where we go. It's already
Yeah,
tasting good though.
Tell us what you think about the tamarind in there. Because that definitely changes it.
Yeah, I had never heard of tamarind. Is it a fruit?
It is. But I'm not, let's see. It shows it here. They're funny looking things, I'll tell you that.
Ah, interesting.
Not
I
something I
sort of
would
wonder-
necessarily go, ooh, let me have one of those.
Huh.
But it's really good.
It's one of those foods, Linda, that, like an artichoke, you go like, who was the first person to ever try one of those?
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't try it.
How do you peel it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it's mean too.
And then how do you eat it?
That was a great program. I wish more people had been here for it.
Oh, look.
Irina, what's the verdict?
I don't. I'm happy with my my one-to-one
Private
coaching
class.
session.
Are very casual, laid back, get to know each other. We can talk. Yeah, no, perfect.
What did you think, Karina, with the tamarind?
It's like got a little bit of a bitter flavor, which is quite nice. I just put 2 little teaspoons in. I'm gonna put a little bit more. I do like it. It's really good.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely an experience. You're like, wow, that is so different.
I have some aubergine chutney as well, which I think I'll just put a little bit of that on top. I think that'll be really nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sounds good.
Fabulous. Well, I'm gonna go.
Valerie, are you gonna make this?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate it. And thank you for telling us about your life. And Steve, you did a great job of zooming in and zooming out and giving those not so silent cues about the basmati rice.
Good job, Steve.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, I said,
Thank you.
honey, I can't do this without you. They will not be able to see, so you have to help. He said, okay, I'm happy to. So,
No, it was really good. Are you going to go enjoy yours now as well?
yeah, I am.
Lunch.
Well, we will see everybody on a cook along tomorrow, hopefully. And
Yeah.
yeah,